Right. Again, welcome to the August BZA meeting for the town of Fortville. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. In person and anybody who is online, welcome. Next, I would like to move to the approval of the meeting agenda. Adam, there are no changes to the meeting agenda as presented?
No changes.
Okay, I would look for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting agenda approved. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4 tonight. Commission to consider approving minutes of the June 2025 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes? Are there any changes, modifications needed at this time? If not,
What's the date of the meeting that we're approving?
June 26th.
Yes.
June 26th.
What did you say?
You just said June.
June of 2025.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry,
Yeah, you're fine.
just the June meeting. Yes, it's June 2026, 2025.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for June 26, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Opposed? Abstain? All right, meeting minutes approved. Now to our one public hearing for this evening, case number variance 04-2025, 616 Poplar Street. The commission is to consider the BZA is to consider development standard variances for 2 35-foot wide lots, 40 feet required, each 4,410 feet square foot with a 5,040 square foot requirement at 616 Poplar Street. Adam, if you could give us the presentation and details of the case, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sure. So for this particular variance request, as you mentioned, this is at 616 Poplar. The petitioner is Jamila Mincy of In and Out Unlimited, and it's on behalf of Ed New. The owner of the property is Eddie Rogers, and the zoning on that property is residential 3.5. It's currently being used as a single-family residential property, and there are 2 empty grassy lots on the north side of it, which I'll show you momentarily. The proposed use on the property is 2 duplex homes, 4 units total, so a duplex on each of those 2 empty grassy lots. So more specifically, Eddie Rogers, the property owner, would like to replat his property and sell 2 lots to Ed New, who would like to build a vertical duplex, meaning 1 unit upstairs, 1 unit downstairs on each of the 2 lots. And they are seeking 3 development standards variances. The first one would be to allow 2 35-foot wide lots instead of 40 feet wide, each as required. Second one would be to allow 2 4,410 square foot lots instead of 5,040 square feet, each as required. And then lastly, to allow a 5.5-foot setback on each side of the duplex homes instead of 6 feet as required. So at the 616 Poplar Street property, there are currently 3.5 lots. An existing house sits on 1.5 lots, and the house would remain. The other 2 lots would have the duplexes. So the property would go from 3.5 to 3 lots as part of a replat. And if I show you here on the parcel map and the aerial photo, you can see it all has one tax ID, which is outlined in blue. And then the red, these are the old underlying platted parcels. So you can see the house is on parcel 6 and a portion of 7. And then there's this empty lot 5, which is 40 feet wide, and then empty lot 4, which is 40 feet wide. So as part of the replat, they like to make combine 6 and 7 to a 70-foot wide lot, and then do a 35 and a 35. If we take a look at the oblique aerial photo, you can see it's right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. There is an alley that's out in the back. And then if we take a look at the street view photo, you can see the existing blue house that's off to the left, and then where these three large trees are, those are the two empty lots. We take a look at the zoning map, you can see it's all predominantly residential 3.5 in the area, which does allow for single-family homes and duplex homes by right in that zoning district. Just have to do one technical IT thing here, audio-visual, I should say. My apologies. So if we take a look at the, basically the concept plot plan for the lot, each lot that they're proposing would be the same in terms of the layout. So you can see it would feature a 25-foot setback from Poplar. They're not planning on putting in a garage or a carport. And the house would sit 5.5 feet away instead of 6 as required from those side property lines. And then if we take a look at the proposed elevations, one home would look like this, and then the other home would look similar like this. So more specifically, the variances that are requested from the zoning ordinance, again, I already mentioned the lot width, the lot size, and then the setbacks. And this just, for additional information, the minimum lot width that's allowed in this area of town in the record and Voorhees edition is 40 feet. So that's where the 40 feet is coming from. That was the typical lot size in that platted subdivision. In terms of remonstrance, all of the public hearing notice items have been completed. That included the sign posting, the newspaper publication in the Greenfield Reporter, a mailing to nearby property owners, and at least at this moment, we're not aware of remonstrance. So if you'll recall, for development standards variances, it's based on criteria that is established in Indiana code that you're asked to consider. And for development standards variances, there's 3 different criteria. So the first one is the general welfare test. Will the approval be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community? I'd say that's been met. There's no evidence to suggest that these items would be affected. Second one is adjacent property. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. I'd say yes, that's been met. There's no evidence to suggest that property values would be negatively affected. And then lastly, practical difficulty. The strict application of the terms of this chapter of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property. I'd say yes, that's been met. This configuration allows for the remaining home to fit comfortably on a 70-foot wide lot and for traditional infill development on the remaining 2 lots. So with that, my recommendation would be to approve the variances, but subject to the following conditions. Number 1, each elevation and color scheme shall be different. Number 2, they shall use materials as shown on the elevations. And for instance, they're showing masonry base, they're showing fiber cement siding. Third one, I'm sorry, not number 4, but number 3 is a porch railing with spindles shall be provided. Number 5, each front setback shall vary by 5 feet. And the last one would be number 5, a white picket fence shall be provided in each front yard. So my belief is that the request that they're putting forward is reasonable, but there are opportunities to do some minor modest tweaks to the project to enhance curb appeal, and therefore it's to ensure that it has an even more positive impact on the neighborhood. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions or clarifications from Adam at this time? Got a quick question, Adam, and I don't know if this has been run down yet, but the 11 feet between the two buildings, is that a concern at all for fire?
It shouldn't be.
Okay.
My understanding is that the bare minimum per the fire code, international fire codes, is 10 feet between structures. And if you're going any closer than that, you can. I believe you can go even closer than that, but they have to be fire rated walls. So, in this case, we would have 11 feet between the houses. So while it's no doubt it's a tight space, it would meet fire regulations of not having to do a fire rated wall.
Any other questions? Okay, we will move along in the public hearing section. Next, we will have opportunity for the petitioner or someone that is here on the petitioner's behalf to speak on the project. Anybody is either present in the room or online, feel free to come up to the microphone, say and spell your name and how you represent the case, please. Or if you're online, unmute.
Yes, this is Jamila Mintz with In and Out Unlimited. Do you need my address or no?
No, just how you represent the case would be fantastic.
Perfect. I am the petitioner for the case on behalf of New Development, New. And so Adam did a magnificent job with the breakdown of this project. I believe that the two proposed duplex homes would be an amazing addition for infill purposes of utilizing this property in a very fair manner. To answer the questions as far as the fire rated walls, that is absolutely correct. There is a 10-foot he's correct in terms of 10 feet or less would require it, but these definitely meet the criteria to not have to use that. And I believe that the commitments mentioned 1 through 5 are reasonable, and that I do see that Rhonda Salazar with New Development is on the call as well. And I do not believe that the commitments would cause any problems with New Development agreeing to those based on the conversations that we have had regarding this project. So I just ask that the board find in favor to approve this petition request and also the replat.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for the petitioner at this time?
It's a small question, but could you just walk us through kind of the intent behind the request? What I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the picture on slide 3 here. It looks like the existing home on the parcel the home that sits on 1.5 parcels fits inside the existing property line, which would leave you 2 40-foot lots. I'm just wondering why going down to 35 instead of trying to keep the 40.
To be able to maximize this space and to provide 2 new constructed pieces for duplex. New Development's whole purpose of why they build the product that they build is to accommodate and to create density on smaller infill lots. They typically do have a 40-foot wide product. However, to just accommodate these 2 parcels to be able to still provide the quality product, but at the same time, not, I wish I could have been in person to kind of explain it a little bit better, but to take away 5 feet would not necessarily change the overall design or the whole intent behind wanting to utilize the parcel there in Fortville. Obviously, we didn't want to take away from any more of the current property owners' existing property. So they condensed it down from a 40-foot to the 35, just to be able to put two homes there, because if there was only a use of one duplex to place on that lot, you would have a lot of side left over. And I think just from like an aesthetic standpoint, it just will look better versus just having a lot of open space left on both sides. So they just, kind of revised the plan a little bit just to affect only the front facing of the property, and just took away 5 feet of it. And most of that is just additional material. It's not living space per se. But they just wanted to be able to utilize both of those parcels and just to provide this product. It's an amazing product, and they've built several of them here in the Indianapolis area. And they are actually great additions to provide, housing for 2 families at one time. So that is more than likely the biggest purpose for them to just condense it down to a 35 instead of a 40.
I don't know if if I can ask a follow-up question. So if I heard you correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's the goal with going with a 35-foot lot instead of a 40-foot lot was to preserve as much of the existing parcel for the existing home and that landowner. Is that correct? Did I follow that right?
Yeah, and again, I was not a part of the original purchase of the 2 lots from the gentleman, Eddie. So coming in, I tried to get an understanding myself, and they were basically able to place 2 homes there instead of utilizing that extra half of a lot that he has that is a part of his existing property line. So instead of taking any more additional land of what he already currently has where his current home sits, they made an agreement to just do the 2 lots that are next to his, separate that out, and just put 2 parcels there instead of it all just being 1 parcel. And from there, they, like I said, condensed down their original design of 40-foot wide across the front,
Right.
and they made them 35 to be able to put 2 homes there.
Okay.
They're just trying to, utilize both lots as best they can to build 2 duplex homes there.
Right. No, I understand that. I guess my question was more, and Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm seeing on our visuals at least is that it seems to me there would be sufficient room there to do 2 40-foot lots and still preserve that 3rd lot for the existing structure. And that would allow you to still do 2 duplexes without having to come before this board for a variance request, is my guess. That's my question.
I think maybe Adam could help clarify when the original division occurred, and we signed that, I don't know. The original division, though, was for a 70-foot break off, not an 80-foot break off, correct? Frontage. So that's why we're at 35 and 35. We don't have the original split that's being sold and now replatted was originally like 71 or 72 feet wide, and that's why we're at 35 instead of 40.
Yeah, from simply put, from what Eddie Rogers told me is originally they were going to do each a 40-foot lot.
Yeah.
And then the remainder would go on the remainder.
240.
And so to that end, we actually did sign the replat.
Yeah.
Because they weren't going down in density. It was just combining parcel lines. And right before they were ready to record it, Mr. Rogers said to me, we'd actually like to change this. We want to go down to 2 35-foot wide lots. And he's not on the call, but he told me that the reason that he wanted to do that is he wanted to have simply put a little bit more space near that existing home on the north side.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't remember what that existing space is. I want to say it would be like maybe 10 feet from the north side of the house to the property line.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
Wait, so that additional context brings into question the practical difficulty aspect of, our considerations tonight, I think. Something that we ought to chew on a little bit. So, any other questions for the petitioner at this time?
Are the tenants there gonna park use on the street parking, or they gonna park out back off the alley?
From my understanding from the developer that they plan to do correct me if I'm wrong, Rhonda, if you have that information, but they're planning to do like parking pads that are in the
Okay.
back, just dedicated for the tenants of both duplexes.
That's what we've been doing around the city here in Indy, parking pads, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You, any other questions for the petitioner at this time? Okay, hearing none, we will move along. We now have time in our agenda for public response, public comment on this project. If anybody is here in person or on Zoom that would like to speak for or against this case, now is the time for that. If you would like to do so, if you're in person, please come up to the microphone, say and spell your name and provide your address, and online, same as well, please. Okay. Hearing nothing, we will move along. We also have time in our agenda for government officials to speak on the case. Any comment at this time? Seeing a shaking of the head, no. All right. Well, we do have time for a petitioner response rebuttal. I don't know if there's any other questions since we did not have public comment. So if there's anything else we'd like to get before the petitioner or or Adam at this time, clarification, now would be the time. I'd entertain it. If not, any final conversation, discussion on this case? Okay, then I would look for a motion, and this will all be in one motion, correct, Adam?
Yeah, however you want to do it.
Okay.
If you want to keep it simple and do it as one motion.
We could do, okay.
If for what I would recommend is if for some reason a motion fails and maybe there's, I don't know, different variances that you agree with and don't agree with, you can split it out.
Okay. So I would look for a motion combined or if you feel like it should be broken out for development standard variances to allow two 35-foot wide lots instead of 40 foot, excuse me, reducing down the overall square foot from 5,040 to 4,410 and a 5.5 foot setback on each side of the home instead of 6 foot as required. Do I have a motion this evening?
Make a motion that we approve 1 through 3 as stated.
All right. Just to clarify, does that include Adam's?
I make,
Conditions?
to include Adam's five staff recommendations as stated.
Conditions? Okay. All right, I've got a motion to approve the development standards variances as presented with the 5 additional conditions set forth by the staff. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. And motion carries 4-1. Congratulations. The standard development variances have been approved. All 3 with the 5 conditions stated by by staff. And we look forward to this development. Thank you very much. Appreciate those who came out tonight for this case. With that, we will end the public hearing section of the case and move to board comments. Any comments at this time? I just want to say thank you to everybody again for participation online and in person. It's always appreciated when folks come out and are involved in town processes. Next, we've got staff comments. Adam, anything at this time?
Nothing for me unless you have any questions on anything. questions or concerns.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Adam and Sarah. Appreciate your efforts on this. With that, I would look for a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 6:57. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Can I just say thank you guys for that, and I'm real excited for our company to be able to come down there and build these homes for you all. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your participation. We look forward to your development.
Have a good evening. Have a great weekend, everybody.